Okay. 82. We learn to use most of the machines in our lives through written instructions without knowledge of the machine's inner workings because most machines are specifically designed for use by non-experts. Okay. So, in general, attaining technological expertise would prepare students for tomorrow's job market no better than would a more traditional education stressing verbal and quantitative skills. Okay, so the conclusion is that technological expertise is not going to prepare students any better than like a
Yes.
traditional education. And the reason for that, the premise is because they're saying the machines we use in our lives, it doesn't require, we don't need technological expertise, right? We just read the instructions and that's enough. So, let's see. So this whole thing about the job market is like this new idea that they're like bringing up. So what are they assuming here? That multiple expertise. I mean, it's kind of a big jump, right? Like they're just assuming that because we just read instruction manuals for machines, that means that technological expertise is just not going to be useful.
Yeah, I feel like this is almost like a false
False
dichotomy
dichotomy.
flaw.
Yeah.
Yeah, where they're like, because like it's either you either can use it or you can't, and there's like no like I've been thinking of like people with computers. Like there's such a range of like
Yeah.
ability of what you can do with like a laptop, right?
Yeah. Yeah. So I guess the thing is, it's assuming that like, I mean, just because we don't really use it, just because we don't seem to use it in our daily lives, like with these machines, it's not useful, especially in the job market.
Yeah, exactly. Like there's not a need for it to be done that way. Perfect.
Yeah, or that it wouldn't provide a benefit. Okay. Fewer people. Okay, that's just irrelevant. What is this? 82.
Yeah, we don't care about how many.
Facility and operating machines is why else never enhanced. Okay, not B because we're talking about the job market. Like that's what we need to be talking about. Um, Most jobs in tomorrow's job market will not demand the ability to operate many machines that are only by experts. Okay, maybe come back to that. Students cannot attain technological expertise also. Okay, not D. That's like making some either or statement that, well, hang on, wait a second. Attaining technology better than our traditional.
I feel like that's relevant. Like that's just like
Yeah.
why can't they happen? So like what happens if students can obtain technological expertise and also receive an
Uh-huh.
education that doesn't neglect verbal, like cool, that does not destroy our argument. Just because they have verbal and quantitative skills, like is there like doesn't hurt.
Hmm. Okay. And then lots of learning to use the machine. Technological expertise is never more. Okay, we're not really talking about learning to use the machine, so it's not E.
Yeah,
So,
and it doesn't have to be true that technical expertise is never more important than verbal and
right.
quantitative skills. Like it could be in certain situations.
Yeah, I guess it's C, but can we talk about C and D again?
Yes. So let's start with D.
Okay. I think like when I first read this, I thought irrelevant. And then I was like, wait a second, but it is true that the stimulus is, it feels like the stimulus is assuming that you do one or the other, but is it not?
We're saying that like students with technological experience, those students aren't prepared any better than those that
Hmm.
like wherever verbal and quantitative skills are stressed.
Hmm.
But that doesn't mean that we can't have both, right? It's just saying in the situations wherever.
Is it Nicole, is it that the stimulus isn't assuming that you can't do both, or it is assuming that you can't do both, but that's not a necessary assumption. Like that's not the main thing
I
about
don't think it's not assuming that you can't have both. It's really focusing on the stressing, like attaining a degree where you have technical. They're saying like you can have a degree that
it.
focuses on technology, or you can have a degree that stresses verbal and quantitative skills. That
Mhm,
doesn't mean that like you can't get a technological skill and your degree still focus on this somewhat, but it's not
mhm,
like stressing it,
mhm.
right? So think about like a business degree, like while it's not stressing math, like math, you can still get some math skills in a business degree,
Mhm.
is how I'm reading it.
Okay. And I guess C is just, now that I'm on second read through, is clearly the best answer because they're assuming, right, because I mean the premise made it clear that like they said most machines are made for use by non-experts. So they're assuming that the job market is not going to involve a bunch of things made for experts, because if it was, then a technical education would be really useful.
Yeah.
Right.
and this is what you said, like it can't be something else that like makes this better. I forget how you worded it, but essentially that was what your prediction was. Like there's not a need for this, which is what
Oh
C is.
yeah, and this is saying that, right, and that's exactly what they're assuming. That's
It's
what
like a
C
more
is saying.
broader way of saying what you thought.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that makes sense.
Excellent.
Okay.